Who do you think I am?
Don't tell me. You're from outer space.
No, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space.
Oh, well, I was close. I mean, I knew outer space was going to come into this sooner or later.
An admiral of the 23rd century space fleet travels through time to San Francisco in 1986, and when he tries to tell the truth about what he's done, well, of course, his dinner partner thinks this guy is a perfect nut. And that's in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, one of the new movies we're going to be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home is one of those rarest of birds, a sequel that is better than the original. In fact, I liked it as much as any in the whole series, and it's a good series, particularly Star Trek II. How do they do it? I think by remembering that we go to a Star Trek movie to spend time with likable characters who obviously like each other, rather than, with most outer space pictures, seeing a whole bunch of cardboard characters fighting all sorts of technological creatures. For example, in this mission to save the planet Earth, Admiral Kirk and Mr. Spock and the rest of the Star Trek crew return to Earth to the streets of San Francisco. This scene may remind you a little bit of Crocodile Dundee, this time with a whole bunch of fish out of water.
Hey, why do you watch where you're going, you dumbass? Well, I'll double dumbass on you.
It's a miracle these people ever got out of the 20th century.
They're still using money. We gotta find something.
Spock, the rest of you stay here. And the rest of you break up. You look like a cadet review.
Funny bit. Saving the planet Earth requires the crew to find some humpback whales that are being sought by a mysterious space probe. The Star Trek crew soon finds themselves underwater.
Rusty, get my arm! You got it? Tommy! Tommy! I'm right out of... I'm here, Tommy! I'm here! We're gonna be all right.
That last bit is from the last part of the movie, and that's the least interesting part of the film. The most pleasing part is simply when these familiar characters talk with each other, gently joke with each other. Really, the appeal is not unlike The Cosby Show or Father Knows Best, where we're seeing a family affair on the screen, a family with distinct characters who like each other, and we suspect at some point love each other.
I also thought this was one of the very best movies in the series, and it's funny because usually, as you said, sequels get worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
This one is better and better. I love Mr. Spock. They have a lot of humor this time in the fact that he cannot tell a lie. So Catherine Hicks, who's the whale expert, is saying, "Do you like Italian?" And Spock says, "No." And Kirk is saying, "Oh, yes, we like Italian." "No, no, I don't, you know." "Do you like it?" "No, I don't." That's very funny. And then, of course, the relationship between Hicks and Admiral Kirk is interesting. The fact that she is so emotionally involved with these whales. And only on Star Trek, you're quite right, would you have a scene where you start out in outer space in the 23rd century and winds up in San Francisco with saving the whale. That was one of the things the TV series did so well, was to take a contemporary issue and put it into a science fiction format to make a statement about it. So the movie has heart, it has a message, it's a lot of fun.
I think it has some beautiful writing. They can get away, because the characters are true, they can get away with saying lines that if they're thrown in another movie, you say, oh, it's just a bunch of, that's phony, it's broad emotion. Here, there can be a conversation between Spock's father and Spock that touches us. because they have these characters down cold. They've kept the team together, which is usually what doesn't happen in most sequels.
They not only have kept the team together, but Leonard Nimoy is the director again this time, and he has developed into quite a good director. I think he moved things right along. It's nice that the people who originally made the Star Trek saga are now still controlling what happens with the movies instead of somebody else with bright ideas to turn it into George Lucas or Steven Spielberg or something. They keep the human element.
Right.
Okay, next movie. Our next movie is named An American Tale, and this is a feature-length animated adventure about a young mouse from Russia who sails with his family to America and then is blown overboard by a big storm and is washed ashore in a bottle and then scampers down the mean streets of New York City as an orphan, cold, friendless, hungry, and alone. This is the most downbeat children's movie since Return to Oz, which began, you may remember, with Dorothy being strapped down for electroshock therapy. What a wonderful, entertaining way for kids to go to the movies. Here's, in An American Tale, the little mouse whose name is Fievel Mouskovitz singing a sad song about his lost family. That's what little kids like when they go to the movies, sentimentality and pathos. They don't like to laugh, we know that. They don't like to be excited. Meanwhile, who do you meet when you're down and out? Real rats like Warren T. Rat, a gangster who has a cockroach as his sidekick.
I'm suffocating down here.
You don't like it? Hey, you know you're not the only cockroach in New York City. There are millions of roaches who give their left feet to work for Warren T. Rat.
Oh, good. Fire me. I'm fed up with that filthy smoke.
Hey.
In this pocket, I've seen kitchen stoves cleaner than this place.
Come on.
Look at my suit.
All right, Digit, all right. Hey, how much money did we make today?
Well, let's see. 7946, carry 1, drop 2. Take 5 down, 7 up, 98.6.
Yeah.
Dom DeLuise does the voice for a fat cat who befriends Fievel.
Listen, I like mice. Oh, no, not like that. I mean, I don't eat red meat at all. I'm a vegetarian. That's right. Oh, a little fish now and then. But what I really like is some nice broccoli.
I think An American Tale is intended primarily for younger audiences.
Oh, what tipped you off?
Doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
That's for sure.
Usually when you see animated mice, it's not for the old folks. And I think, however, that this film is way too depressing for young audiences. It's also a very confused movie. Now, it would be obvious to most grown-ups watching this film that Fievel and his family are Jewish. And that's why the troops of the Russian Tsar in 19th century Russia burned down their homes and sent them into exile. But the movie never mentions that point. This seems to be a Jewish parable that doesn't want to declare itself. And so it's as if the movie would mean more if you had the key, but in the meantime, what is your average kid going to think when the movie begins with soldiers burning down houses and not one word of explanation? It's very strange. They're talking about the pogroms, but they don't say what they're talking about. The movie does have good animation. The director, Don Bluth, jumped ship at the Disney Studios a few years ago to try to rediscover on his own the secret of Disney's great old animation. And here he does a very lively and effective job, but the story is so depressing that who can enjoy the animation?
Well, the animation is passable because he doesn't do full animation. It's unaffordable these days. They did a nice job in The Great Mouse Detective. I think that was better animation. But I think you hit on something very, very important. They start out this story, and it is a Jewish story, and then they chicken out and leave it all alone. Mm-hmm. And what we get is other mice, other ethnic groups coming into America, and you get, actually, some pretty bad stereotypes. You get the crooked Irish politician from Tammany Hall. You get the rich German aristocracy from Jews, but not identified as such. And you get the Italian, little caricature. We have a whole bunch of I think, sort of racist caricatures in this picture, and we drop the central Jewish figure because it could only be that they think that's too ethnic and won't make money at the box office. This film doesn't play fair with its story.
So why not just set it in a non-ethnic situation in Europe and just have have the mouse come to America. Yeah, right. Just do stuff like that, because this movie is real serious with no announced purpose as to why it's real serious.
The other thing that I hate is when they have in the pre-title sequences the names of the actors who are going to do the voices. That should be put at the end of the film. You know why? Because when I see Dom DeLuise playing that rat or whatever the hell he plays, no, he plays, I think, the Irish politician.
Right.
As soon as I see...
He plays the fat cat.
Okay,
right,
he plays a fat cat, whatever he plays. As soon as you see that, you think, oh, there's Dom DeLuise when you're listening. And I don't want to know that. I want to get into the magic of the movies. Don't tell me the names early.
Okay, and one more footnote that I have. I didn't like the song, "In America There Are No Cats."
That's right. No, in New York there are no, or in America there are no cats. What about all the people named Cats? A lot of them are Jews, too.
Another valuable insight from Mr. Siskel. Coming up next, Firewalker, sort of a son of Raiders of the Lost Ark with a search for hidden gold.
Pedro. You said your mother was a pig and your father was a dog. You mentioned my sister?
Firewalker is one of the most derivative films in years, imitating elements of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Romancing the Stone. You know, a couple of adventurers and a gutsy blonde on a trail of hidden treasure. Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett are the odd couple of warriors, feuding and fussing and trading smart aleck lines that we never believe in.
I knew you were going to blame this on me. Do you want me to go back, Leo? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to.
That's what I thought you'd say. Idiot.
Then stop acting like a dadgum sissy.
I am no sissy. Don't you call me that anymore. I am no sissy.
I swear, you're getting as bad as that fruitcake girl. Now I'm going to see this thing through. Anytime you want out, just say so.
I might just do that, you know?
Well, that's fine with me.
I might do that.
Good.
Fruitcake? I'm a fruitcake?
That's Melody Anderson as the generic woman with an offer for them to hunt for hidden gold. But first, you know, they have to have a standard movie bar fight.
Hold this.
Ah, yes, the obligatory Chuck Norris karate sequence. And then this tired mess leads us up to a jungle where all looks lost, but sadly, all isn't.
Need a new plan. Don't you think it's a little late for that, Max? Prepare to die, junkies.
This movie is a complete waste of time. Chuck Norris can be appealing in an action picture. Lou Gossett has a marvelous acting range. Neither is used well here, either individually or together, and Melody Anderson is relegated to playing just another screaming Mimi. Boy, am I tired of seeing this kind of film.
You know, the movie was directed by J. Lee Thompson, who made The Guns of Navarone a long time ago, but he is a hack in recent years. He has made all of those terrible, like King Solomon's Mines and a couple of the real bad Charles Bronson pictures. Yes. If I had Chuck Norris, who does have the ability to be very good in a movie, and we've seen him in a couple where he was good, in Code of Silence, if I had Lou Gossett...
Who's always been good.
Who's always been good. If I had Melody Anderson, who is presumably capable of playing an interesting woman if they write one for her, I think that I would try to make a movie that didn't look like all of those other movies, but cheap, watered down, pale, and uninteresting.
I can't prove this, but I bet this movie was signed as a deal probably 1 month after the grosses started coming out on Romancing the Stone, and that's where the creativity stopped. I hate when they do that.
Why didn't they maybe give this material to a bright young film student and let him try to prove himself? I don't know. When we come back, we'll review a holiday ballet film of The Nutcracker. Our next movie is named The Nutcracker, and it's a colorful, dreamy fantasy based on Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite and Hoffman's original fairy tale, The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. The movie is narrated by a grown-up woman who remembers a wonderful dream she had on a long-ago Christmas Eve, and then the dream expands into a series of fantasies and a full-blown ballet. Here's a scene from early in the movie when the heroine dances around the room with her new present, a nutcracker. A strange old grandfather winds up the toy dancers in a miniature castle, and the little girl and her brother peek in through the windows. This is my favorite scene from the movie, as a fat old tiger gets turned into a maypole. Somehow that scene reminded me of the great moment in Young Frankenstein when the monster decided to start dancing to a Fred Astaire tune. Nutcracker does a fairly good job of being exactly what it is, a holiday entertainment. This is not a great ballet film, it is not a great fantasy, it is not a great film. It is a fairly colorful and lively version of the Nutcracker. The result is a film that is not electrifying, but then again, how electrifying can Sugar Plum Fairies really be? I give it a thumbs down, except if you want to see a movie just like this.
And I would say that in every city in America, major city in America, there are organizations that put on the play, the Nutcracker, and I would say go to that, because I don't think that they can be any worse than this film is. To me, this was boring. Carroll Ballard is a great cinematographer. He's made fine movies, Never Cry Wolf, The Black Stallion. This is not in that class. I didn't think the photography was that crisp. I don't think filming ballet is very difficult to do, and he hasn't done a very good job here. I did not find the female lead charismatic. I didn't find anyone in the corps charismatic. I did not enjoy this. I sat there surprised. I have never seen the Nutcracker. I have 2 young daughters. I want to take them to see the Nutcracker. I will not take them to this movie.
Would you recommend the soundtrack album?
I would not recommend getting anywhere near a theater playing the Nutcracker. Coming up next, our special video segment with reviews of films starring Richard Pryor and Sissy Spacek. Your video stars this week. My recommendation, and it's a strong one, is Richard Pryor's semi-autobiographical JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, which has the guts to show both the lure and the death trap that is drug use and abuse. Pryor gives a sweet, honest performance, as in this scene where he says goodbye to his first wife, whom he's leaving for his career.
I can't go.
You're not gonna go?
No, baby.
Cash this in, and then they'll give you the money for it.
Look, if it doesn't work out there, will you come back here, home? I mean, I'll be here waiting for you.
No, you don't understand. I'm not coming back here.
I'm not coming back. Almost a prophetic line. Pryor acted so well in this film in a double role as himself and his conscience. It was kind of funny. It was a nostalgic trip back to his youth, the beginning of his amazing career, and the tragedy and triumphs that followed. JoJo Dancer is a superb Hollywood biography. I really recommend renting it.
Well, I think you're going to probably pick it as one of the year's 10 best.
I make it.
Suggested that. Yeah, I liked it. Not as much as you did. I felt that it was missing a third act. I wanted to know more about his comeback and his recovery from drug addiction, and I suggested, I think, when we reviewed it the first time, that maybe that might make another movie, a very interesting sequel.
I would love to see more of any good movie.
Well, it's hard to argue with that.
Thank you.
My choice in the video stars this week is a thoughtful and passionate movie from earlier this year named Violets Are Blue. The movie starred Sissy Spacek as a small-town girl who becomes a famous magazine photographer, and Kevin Kline is the boyfriend she left behind. When she returns 13 years later to her small town, he's married and has a family, but they still feel some of the same old romantic feelings.
Sometimes I think about what it would be like to live in a house with you. Have coffee with you in the morning, supper with you at night, take showers with you.
Bonnie Bedelia gives a great performance in the movie as Kline's angry wife.
And I don't want to be the one to keep you here. And I sure as hell won't apologize for liking it here. So if it's too small for you, get the hell out. But for God's sake, be a man. Tell the truth.
Violets Are Blue is a movie about choices that were made years ago and choices now that must be made today. Is true romance so important that it sweeps everything else aside? Or do people have responsibilities that are more important than their own happiness? This movie is rare among recent films and really seriously considering those questions and not just assuming that nice people should get everything that they want.
I don't think it was a great film, but I think that you hit it right on it, which is a question do you leave because this is a little bit more enticing? Do you turn your back on a relationship that has been of value to you for many years? And I think it's a question that people face every day, and I think the movie does a nice job.
That's right, and Hollywood is so often just shows people who have enormous egos and think they deserve everything, that they want to feel good all the time, and too bad about everybody else. This movie thinks about everybody else.
Okay, now to recap our reaction to the movies on this show, the new ones. Roger and I really enjoyed Star Trek IV. We both think it's the best of the series, emphasizing the characters more than the outer space hardware. We both thought American Tail was a whiny, sappy, animated cartoon features that chickened out on its ethnic heritage. 2 thumbs down. And a similar reaction to Firewalker, only maybe more negative. Of course, we're in garbage territory here anyway. A miserable ripoff of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Romancing the Stone. 2 more downturned thumbs. And we agreed on the Nutcracker. Sure, it has great music, but the film didn't make up the music. I hated the film treatment. Roger found parts of it passable. He's sort of generous, but 2 thumbs down.
So let me guess here. I would say that from this show, Star Trek IV is the only one that either one of us gave thumbs up to, and I think it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
That's it for this week. Next week we'll review Modern Girls, the story of 3 young women trying to make it on their own in L.A., and Solar Babies, the futuristic tale of a band of orphans who find a mystical force. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.